Welcome back to another episode of TNT with Rabbi Stuart Federow. I'm trying to get the microphone out of my face so you can see where. That's weird. I moved the camera and it's blocking my face. Anyway, so tonight we're going to be discussing a new miniseries. So no need to sit tight. Rabbi Federow is right here. Rabbi, how are you, sir? It's good to see you.
Thank God I'm doing okay. How are you?
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. I am doing great. I'm doing great. I decided after a while I was going to bring back my beard. I think I'm going to do that now. I've been missing it for a while. This little goatee has been, yeah, anyway. I don't know why I just pointed that out. I just looked at the screen.
You got to remember, I can't see you, so, you know.
I know, right? Well, you could. Hey, you've seen me. You're the only rabbi who's actually seen me more than twice.
More than twice, that's for sure.
Yeah, Rabbi Singer has seen me.
I honestly thought that my last Monday before going back to work, I was going to be able to make it, but I didn't.
Right. All right. That's okay. We'll get you in here sometime soon. So.
All right.
Okay, well, so just for you people just now tuning in, of course, we just started, so that was really dumb to say. But just to let you know, I am not opening the phone lines tonight because we have something we're going to discuss that I think you guys are going to like. I'm not going to open the phone lines yet. Well, maybe we can open them later, but right now we have some
we
things
have to open them up because we're supposed to take suggestions, I thought.
Well, I kind of have a list of things I want to cover.
Oh, good. Hey, if you got the list, you're fine.
Yeah. I totally want to cover a specific
Whatever
list.
you want is fine by me.
All right, thank you.
Remembering that this is a dialogue.
Oh, yeah. Right. Oh, totally, yeah. Oh, believe me, I have got lots of questions along the way. And actually what we'll do is we will take questions, like not tonight, but starting tonight is like the preliminary of what we're going to be doing, okay? And so starting next week will be the official. We've got basically we're going to do a 10-set miniseries. This is episode 1, but we've got 9 main chapters. We're going to, I say chapters, 9 main shows to finish out the series of 10, and each one of those shows will be dealing with one topic. During those shows, I would like to open the phone lines so that the people can call in, but basically stick with questions related to the title of the show only. Kind of like we do with Rabbi Skobac. Most people are familiar with Skobac. We deal with Acts chapter 1, Acts chapter 2, where he's not going to answer questions about Leviticus 15. That's because that's irrelevant to the show. So during this the next 10 weeks, next 9 weeks following tonight, the questions that we have the phone lines open for will be specifically with the title of the show. And I think the people like that because they're going to help us explore these topics a lot more than we may intend to begin with. Because I know, I've got a limited resource on ideas that I've heard and explanations, and I know there's, with all the people's heads, putting them together and all their thoughts together, we could really, really bring this thing to light and really just expound on everything that could possibly be worked on. So that's going to be the goal. So with that said, I do want to make sure that Rabbi, are you on YouTube yet? Because I totally don't have my YouTube page.
No, I want it.
Okay, so everything's running good?
Seems fine to me.
Okay, good. I'm going to actually open that up on my side too, because if we see any basic comments, general comments, we can definitely answer them. And let's see, YouTube, sorry.
No, wait. Robert Steckman?
Yes.
Trying to get Stuart's app, still not working yet. No, Robert, iPhone basically demands, like every so often, you've got to have an update. And if you don't have an update, you get into trouble with iPhone. And frankly, my app was nothing but text. There was nothing to update.
Interesting.
So basically, they kicked us off for not having enough updates on a regular basis to fill their requests or whatever. So the Android app, just the same kind of thing happened. They changed. Look, I don't even know what I'm saying. So this is a vocabulary I don't even use. But they changed some sort of AQP, whatever it is, the
right.
programming language, and it made my Android app, even though there was nothing in it that would do this, but it triggered it as a virus.
Oh, yeah, right.
APK, APQ, AP something. They changed the programming language, and it made my app trigger. And so both the apps are off. Well, he's not a kid anymore, but the guy who originally made my website, whatjewsbelieve.org, he's just tired of me going to him and saying, can we fix this? Something's gone wrong with the website. And he's trying to basically completely revamped the website so it doesn't matter what you use, iPhone, Android, tablet, cell phone, whatever, it'll format and do all the things it's supposed to do.
Rabbi, but your website is up, right? Just not the apps.
Right, exactly. But
okay,
the website that's up, we're trying to revamp that the website will fit on anybody's cell phone or tablet or desktop.
Well, here's the thing. It doesn't have to be cell phone friendly to work on your phone. You just have to zoom in and out. That's the only difference. When it's cell phone friendly, it just means you just scroll straight up. If it's not cell phone friendly, that means you got to zoom out and slide it over left, right, and then zoom into where you want.
Right. Well,
right? So it still functions.
Whatever it makes it easy to do.
Right.
Supposedly he is working to make it better.
Okay. So Robert.
However, until then, Steve. I'm sorry, Robert. Sorry, Robert. Forget the apps. They may not come back until the website gets completely fixed up. But for now, use the website, whatjewsbelieve.org, whatjewsbelieve.org, and the Spanish translation of one of the earliest versions of whatjewsbelieve.org, which is creenciajudia.org.
Okay, and the point I want to make to Robert also is what you can do on your phone, which will be just as handy as long as you can just do it once or twice and know how to get to it quickly, is put that website on your phone and save it as a bookmark, because the website is exactly like the app, except the screens are portioned off differently. That's the only difference. So you can save that website to your phone, bookmark it. So anytime you open up the Internet Explorer, hit your bookmarks tab and select what Jews believe of, and you can have it still, even though you may not have the app. So you're going to be good to go either way, and that's for everybody to know as well, because I still use that as well. So real quickly, I want to say a big shout out to where'd my mouse go? To Carla, Tzvi, Steve McCann. Actually, I should have started at the top. Michael Martin, how you doing, brother? From Joplin, yeah.
Joplin, Missouri.
Joplin, I'm guessing so. Yeah.
Well, I used to go to Joplin every 2 weeks for youth group for youth group.
If I'm not
used
mistaken,
to go from Springfield to Joplin every 2 weeks.
And if I'm not mistaken,
I
need to thank Michael Martin, and he knows why. Appreciate it. Aya, Asher, Aya. What does that mean in Hebrew? I know it's Hebrew.
What is?
Aya, Asher, Aya.
Asher means happy, but it's also the name of a tribe.
So, no, not Asher, the Aya part. Like that's almost like Ye, Haya. What is Aya? EHYEH, the second comment on the list.
What's his name? No. Ehiyah asher ehiyah.
What does it mean?
Literally, I will be what I will be.
Yeah, I knew it was part of the Tetragrammaton. That's why I was saying it. It's like one of those. Okay, cool.
By the way, some people mistranslate that as I am what I am.
Right.
That's Popeye. That's not the Bible. The Bible is future tense. Ehiyah asher ehiyah.
That's awesome.
I will be what I will be.
That's awesome. Alpha all day. Shalom to you. By the way, you say shalom, rabbis. I'm not a rabbi, but I do teach from time to time. Thank you, though. Alpha all day. That was awesome. Jennifer Wright, John Payne, Robert Stokman. Good question, by the way, about the app. Sharon Schnapp, Delane Davis. Good to see you, girl. Kevin Thomas, Beverly Lane. Did I get those in the right lane? Carla J. Tzvi Mechanic. It's good to see you. It was nice talking with you today, Tzvi. Very good. Very good. Paul Brill. I hope I'm not missing anybody. Rabbi Federow is watching again.
Michael Martin, I got to tell you, I've said this probably every week, but I can say it again. It's funny that my family used to have an annual July 4th week of July 4th family reunion. Now that we don't have it because my parents passed away and we sold the house, now that we don't go there anymore, people are coming out of the woodwork out of Springfield, Missouri, Ava, Missouri, and now Joplin, and it's amazing to me. One of these days I'd like to get back up there just to say, hey, everybody, I'm going to be up there. Oh, you know something? We talked about this last 2 weeks, whatever. And that is a Tanakh Talkers group, a meetup group, Tanakh Talkers. And just wherever you live, put an ad somewhere, make it somewhere where people will say, hey, we're going to be at Starbucks at 4:00 at this address. Hope to meet you there face to face, so you get to know who's in your area. I mean, just today I was Facebook messaging, whatever it's called, with someone, and I'm telling you, you're not the only one who's looking, who's left Christianity, but who's looking and searching.
Right.
They're near you. You've got to do something to find them. Oh, no, I'm alone. And I'm saying, no, you're not alone. Right. First of all, you got us. Okay. But second of all, I'm telling you, there are people near you. That's why I think these Tanakh Talker meetup groups
Right.
might be a very valuable tool.
Okay, real quick. Sean Gibson, Wally Cleaver, good to see you. Everybody, in case you didn't know, Sadiq van der Hoof, brother, thank you so much for moderating my YouTube channel. He's one of the handful of moderators I have. So y'all, if you have any questions that need to come straight through, message him and he'll tag me somehow. And so I really appreciate you guys. Jew who swings who swings snakes. Clever name. He does like your personality, though, Rabbi. That's good. Paul Brill.
Thank you.
Timothy Wilson.
Jew who swings snakes.
Francis
That's
Miller.
kind of you.
Alex Wright. Thank you guys for joining us. Now, real quick, doubling back to Knock Talkers. That was Rabbi's idea here tonight. Rabbi Stuart Federow.
Well, whoa. It's my idea, and you know me in names.
Yeah. Me too.
I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay.
apologize. I can't remember her
So
name.
what I think, I've been thinking about that for a few days, and I think what might be, because I'm finding it difficult to correspond with people through email and through text messages and through Facebook messages because I can't remember where to find things. So I think what we need to do is we need to create a Facebook group, like you said, called Tanakh Talkers. That'll be the name of the group. And we will only accept people in the group who are interested in traveling to meet. If you're not looking for a social
or even
club,
local. Look, what if you're
that's my point. But my point is that you want to meet other people who are on this journey, and you're willing to either be local or meet. But a lot of people live out. I mean, I just don't want like anybody. I don't want to have like people who haven't even considered leaving Christianity in this group. This is strictly for people who are interested in getting together and meeting people who are on the same journey already, and we'll filter it that way and make it so that group is specifically for it. So anybody has a message to say, hey, we just opened up, we found 2 families, in, Wisconsin, blah, 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 whatever city. And then we can put that in the group and put it as a post. Everybody in the group can see it, and other people know if they're in the same area, they can find it. Right?
Anything else you wanted to say about that? Because I can't resist something, William.
You need to go for it. That's all I got to say.
So this is for Jew who swings snakes.
Okay.
Swing low.
Oh, my.
Sweet chariot.
You are a dork.
swing. Jew who swings snakes. Swing low. Okay, just kidding.
Amy's Breakthrough, good to see you. Within Shiloh, Tsuriya. Very good. I like to call out people who I've never seen before, and I don't watch the chat a lot, so I'm probably seeing Kenyatta Richardson. I know who you are. Thank you, Kenyatta, for joining us again. So, Kenyatta, thank you as well.
Every so often, I meet my daughter in halfway between Dallas and Houston.
Bill Smiley, shalom, brother.
I'm sorry?
Oh, I'm just kind of in between your breaths. I'm saying hi to people.
Oh, absolutely. So, I'm not sure where in Central Texas, but I'm in Houston.
Yeah, and I'm right outside. I'm about an hour outside of Austin, so that's good. Okay, so moving forward. So here's what we've got going on. Rabbi and I have been talking for about a year. Keeping in mind, we've been doing shows now for about 4 years. We got over 100 episodes.
Is that all? Feels like we've been doing this forever.
This is 1 or 2. It's been 4.5 years.
Well, okay.
Right? And so...
6?
Well, Tanakh Talk is 2007, no, 14.
And the fact that it's only 102, I would think it'd be a lot more than that over the course of
you know what?
so many years.
That may be the case, actually. I mean, because I'm not sure if my numbering system is that. I do know that the channel actually counts for me, and there's close to 700 videos on the channel.
I know, and you figure 1,000 people watching any one show on the average, and we know that's higher or lower than 1,000.
Yeah,
that's 700,000 people have watched a video.
Right.
That's incredible, William. That nobody affects people like that. There's no institution, there's no company, corporation, synagogue, temple, rabbi, or anybody who affects that many people.
Joseph, I'm reading your post right now. It says, to Knock Talk, I have a suggestion. Can you open a 24/6 flash chat? I don't know what flash chat is, but a flash chat room that we will pay $5 to $10 a month membership. Dude, that would be amazing. People love chatting, and it allows you to get money entry. That would be really, really helpful, like you would not believe. I don't know how to do that or what that entails.
I don't know what flash chat is.
I've never heard of flash chat, but I can certainly look into it. That would be really, really helpful for sure.
By the way, Joseph, that's pretty cute. 24/6.
Hey, that's smart right there, boss.
That's pretty 24/6. That's pretty funny.
Okay, so many more years to come. Hashem willing. Yes, Paul Brill. Thank you, brother. Yasmin Coates, good to see you. I'm so sorry. Yes, when she said, "Trust me, no one is near me."
Yeah,
Wow.
Yasmin, if you are going to be in Houston this October, I live here. Hello, let's get together. Let's meet up at a McDonald's or something.
And there's plenty of people in
Starbucks
Houston.
or
There's at least,
kosher restaurants here that we can meet
I
up
would
at.
say there's at least 30 plus people who are Noahide
Deanna, good to see you. Welcome.
Am I correct? Hey, Deanna, how are you, lady? Good to see you. Flash chat 123.
Yeah, Joseph, not on Shabbat, but 24/6. I thought that was cute.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, okay, so what we're gonna do? Let's let you and I ignore chat for a minute, Rabbi.
Right.
Okay, so we need to basically we're going to start from scratch. It's been long enough. Tanakh Talk started in 2014 November, and this is 19. So we're coming up on 5 years, and so in 5 years' time, we've covered so much ground.
648 different videos.
Right.
From what, about a half a dozen different teachers, rabbis. Right. That's just enormous.
Closer to a dozen total. Even we even had
even bigger. That's even bigger.
Many of you may not know this, but we even had Simcha Jakobovich on here one time, the guy who was the naked archaeologist on the History Channel. And the one time he showed up, I was having bad weather, and the video was like choppy. I was like, oh my God, he's never going to come back again. But it was still a great show. It was really nice. And maybe one of these days we'll get him back on here again. Really, really cool. But yeah, we've had quite
Michelle,
a few.
I will, I promise.
Rabbi, you're not supposed to be looking at chat.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're supposed to be talking about it. Put your blinders on, just for a minute anyway. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to take this back to the basics. We want to have all together in one block of videos. Rabbi, camera, I can see you where you're looking. You're too funny. There you go. He's putting up a shield. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, hey, Mimi Shmuel, good to see you. Okay, Michelle, good to see you. So I just looked at the screen too. Okay, so we're going to have like a little one block of 10 videos, or 9 technically. This is video 1 of 10. So the next 9 videos we're going to have set up so that these are going to be the go-to videos for every. I don't want to say elementary because some of the stuff is deeper than elementary level, but some of the 9 of the most basic problems of Christianity, one topic per
here's the
video.
way I look at it, okay? And it's actually, in my opinion, I think it's important to understand, okay? And that is, people will say, let me put it this way. They'll say, we believe in the Messiah and they don't. And here, Isaiah 7:14 means this, and they say Isaiah 7:14 means that. And what they forget is that there is a basic theology you must accept before you accept anything else about Christianity. So if I ask now a random Christian, if I say to a Christian, tell me what Jesus did for you. Who is he and what did he do for you? What they will have to say if they're going to be true to normative Christianity is that Jesus was the Son of God who died for the sins of humanity. That statement alone has numerous characteristics that you must accept before you can say that Jesus was the Son of God who died for the sins of humanity. So, for example, saying that Jesus was God's son means that you believe that God made a human being pregnant. Okay. Saying that Jesus died for your sin, well, it means that Jesus on the cross died. God can't die. Therefore, the person on the cross who died for the sins of humanity was a human being. What does Judaism, what does the Bible say about human sacrifice? Can one person die for the sins of another? All these things have to be in place before you can then say, Jesus was the Son of God who died for my sins. And so what I'm saying is that long before you even talk about biblical verses and rip out of context Bible and rabbinic statements and try to make it look like, oh yeah, the Jews always believed in Jesus, or they just accept, they believe the concepts of behind the theology of Jesus. You have to take a look at what Christianity believes on the most basic elemental level and compare it with what the Bible actually says on those topics.
Okay. Let me make a
Okay.
quick comment real fast. Paul Brill.
Go ahead.
Paul Brill, he said, were Jews expecting a prophet or Messiah at the time of Jesus? Now, I will tell you that Messiah simply means anointed, so and prophets are anointed. So both, actually. So they were expecting an anointed prophet, but not a savior. The problem with the interpretation of Messiah is not savior of the world.
That's
it's
another
just simply,
thing that I think that becomes important is because
hey, Devin.
Judaism and Christianity use the same words, but they mean totally different things to each group.
Right.
We talk about sin. Well, in Christianity, sin is a state of being, whereas in Judaism, it's an act transgressing the law of God. So we use the word Messiah. Messiah, you just said, not a savior. Well, the Christian concept of Messiah means someone who saves, a savior.
Right.
They think the word Messiah is synonymous with the word savior. Whereas in Judaism, the function and purpose of the Messiah has nothing to do with salvation. So it's certainly in the Christian context of what salvation means in Christianity. So even our most basic vocabulary, we may use the same words, but we don't mean the same thing when we use the same terms between the two religions.
That's very true. And so I think it's one of the biggest issues that I find on a regular basis is their terminology has hijacked definitions that don't apply.
And Jew who swings snakes, it doesn't matter. These people are not willing to accept what it actually says. You're right. However, if we don't put out into the world what it actually does say and what the Bible does mean and say when it uses these terms, then they're going to simply outnumber us and win the argument as a result. We still have to, the Talmud tells us, Dam ala Hashib, know how to respond. Okay? And frankly speaking, in the world in which we live, if Judaism is not represented in the marketplace of ideas, in the marketplace of religions, then you're not offering God's truth as revealed to us through the Bible, through Torah, to the people in that marketplace. And so you cannot you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, and that's true, but you still have to lead the horse to water. You have to provide the water and then lead the horse to it.
Right. Crystal
like the living waters of Torah.
Right. Very good.
So, all right.
Very good. So just to give you an idea, well, you guys already have the idea. Like I said, the major topics. I mean, Rabbi, you can, off the top of your head, you could probably list more than I could. But I mean, problems with, just a general idea of the next 9. I'll have you a list soon. I'm going to create a list of the specific topics, but it's going to cover all the major stuff.
If we're going to formally think about a list, okay, then look at what Christianity says, okay, about their beliefs. All right?
Right.
Monotheism. How do we understand God? Who is God? What are the characteristics? What is the highest characteristic of God? Okay? They think in terms of monotheism. Start over. They think in terms of Trinity. We think in terms of absolute monotheism. In this regard, Judaism is far closer to Islam than Christianity could ever be close to Judaism. Because both Judaism and Islam believe in an absolute monotheist view of God. And both Islam and Judaism reject the Trinity of Christianity as not being monotheistic.
Right.
So, and by the way, yes, I know what some people are thinking. Oh, but this rabbi over here said Christianity was monotheism. And yes, there are those who did. However, most likely, they probably lived in a Christian country and were making these statements, mipnei darkei shalom, for the sake of peace. Because if they'd have said, by the way, Judaism doesn't believe Christianity is monotheism, the whole Christian world would have come down on their heads, which they did anyway. But the point is that it would have given them a opportunity to do this, it would give them an excuse to come down on the Jews.
Right.
So, a lot of rabbis who didn't live in Christian countries, like Maimonides, when he moved from Spain to Egypt, flatly said Christianity is not monotheism; it's idolatrous.
Wow.
So, at any rate, okay, yeah, okay. So, all right. Another thing. The distinction that we make between God and humans, the hallmark of idolatrous, pagan, Greco-Roman world religions is that they don't distinguish between human beings and God. Gods become humans, humans become God. The simple statement that a God or whatever you want to call it, had a human woman made pregnant who gave birth to an offspring that was a demigod, semigod, God, whatever, not only works for Christianity, but is also the same for Hercules. Okay, or my mind just went blank. Perseus,
Right.
Whose mother was Danae and whose father was Zeus, or Hercules' mother was Semele. I think that's right. I get these mixed up. And whose father was Zeus. Or, there are plenty of other examples where God has a human woman made pregnant and the offspring becomes a semi-god. And the classic Greco-Roman world paganism, and it's also what Christianity says about Jesus, whose human mother Mary was made pregnant by God the Father through the Holy Spirit. So, what's the difference? Yeah. So another one, the concept of the Satan versus the devil. What is the nature of humanity? Okay. Are we born in sin? Okay. Did Adam and Eve sin in the Garden of Eden? Are we born in sin? I know I'll get a lot of flack for that one, but that's okay. I can handle it. Can one person die for the sins of another? And let's be explicitly clear on that. What does that mean? It means that by one human being dying, they take away the guilt for sins committed by someone else. It's not that they merely die for them. What does that mean? If a soldier throws himself on a hand grenade and saves their lives, he died for them. Well, yes, but the death of the one soldier who threw himself on a hand grenade does not take away the sins of the other soldiers.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
So, but when the Christians say he died for our sins, what they're saying is I'm no longer held guilty by God because Jesus died. That's where they get the term Savior. Jews tend not to use the word Savior. We tend to speak in terms of redemption. Okay. If you have the idea of Jesus dying for your sin, it's usually based in Christianity on the idea that you have to have a blood sacrifice in order to be forgiven for your sin. Does that hold up with the biblical verses? Let's see. I already said this, but would God even accept a human sacrifice? Okay. And the concept of the Messiah. Again, we use the words that are the same, but they have totally different meanings between the two faiths. Okay. Because of movements like the Hebrew roots and Jewish roots of Christianity movements and all these other things, plus organizations like the Jews for Jesus and the product they create, which is called Messianic Jews, there's a lot of confusion about exactly what is a Jew. I think we need to discuss that too.
Right.
So, all right. At any rate,
Dig it.
these are some of the topics that I think that we need to cover over the next many weeks.
Right.
And they are the underpinnings. They're the basic theology you have to believe in order to accept the idea of Jesus dying for your sin. And the question we are constantly going to be asking, consistently being asked, is, do these concepts coincide with what the Bible actually says, with what the Torah actually states? That's it in a nutshell.
That sounds good.
Not one of it, by the way.
So we need
is
to put
going
this list sometime.
Does Isaiah 7:14 really mean what it? Does
Right.
Isaiah 53? We're not talking about that. That's a separate topic. We're talking about the most basic elements of Christian theology, and are they in fact in consonance with what the Bible actually says?
So
and
what
of course,
we need
what
to
we're going to
do
find is no, they're not.
sometime this week, you and I need to kind of share our list together and compile them, and that way I can
Absolutely.
that way I can kind of have all the titles lined up, and we can have them
Right.
prepared ahead of time. So because what you mentioned was
Which is what I said earlier.
which is about
tonight.
80% of what I already had, and so with my extra 20%, we might be able to tweak it a little bit and actually make it as full as possible. So that'll be good. I'm liking it. I think it's a good idea. I think it's much necessary because I mean, there's really one thing you mentioned a while back was that with so many videos on YouTube, not just ours but everybody's. I mean, to find a specific video would be could be very difficult if you're looking for a specific topic. Now, I will give everybody who is viewing right now a very interesting point that does not only work on my channel, but it works on anybody's channel, like Rabbi Singer's, for example. If you go and we'll use mine, for example, because we're on it now. If you go into pull up the Tanakh Talk YouTube channel, you don't have to do that. Just go in the main search bar at the very top of YouTube and type in Tanakh Talk, and then whatever topic you like, Tanakh Talk, virgin birth. Just type all that together. It will pull up as many videos as I've done that actually has virgin birth in any of my shows. Now you have to search the contents of each show, but they're in there. I mean, that's kind of the good thing about how YouTube works.
So if it's listed in the contents, it'll show up on the search.
Exactly. So yeah, it actually auto detects that stuff. So you can find that with any video that you're looking for, even if you like survival shows and you like, whatever Joe Schmo camping in winter, you type that in there and you'll find it. So if it's actually there, so that's good. It's a good resource to have. So, but what we'll have now is we're going to have a list of 10 videos back to back on this show where you guys can just write down the episode number and you'll know right where to find them. And those are the main go-tos for pretty much every concern you could find in basic discussing of why Christianity is a problem. So, and when I say Christianity, I mean Messianic Christians as well.
Messianic Christians are Christians. Messianic quote-unquote Jews are still Christians and no longer Jews. And we should maybe even talk about that too.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, right? For sure.
Yeah. You can find the quotation on Chabad.org. Yeah, I think it's .org. And go to Maimonides' Mission to Torah, Avodat Kochavim, chapter 2, section 5.
Right.
And he specifically says a Jew who converts to another religion is no longer a Jew. Right. So, anyway, and that's exactly how R.E.A. Kaplan, may rest in peace, explicitly understood that section of Maimonides' Mission to Torah, Avodat Kochavim 2.5. Right. He explicitly understood it by saying that a Jew converts to another religion is no longer a Jew.
Right.
So,
interesting.
Yep. Well, hopefully it'll all be interesting.
Well, I tell you what I really don't want to do that though. I was thinking, I don't want
Sadiq Vinderhoof, that's what people always say. I don't think a Jew can stop being a Jew. Well, actually, yeah. And it goes back to the biblical passage where Elijah is talking to the Jews who've fallen into Baal worship. And he says to them, stop limping around. Either God is God or Baal is God, one or the other. You can't believe in both.
In Kings, yeah, right.
Yeah, First Kings 8 about the, I forgot the verse already.
Right.
So, at any rate.
Cool.
I'm sorry, I said 8. I meant 18. First Kings 18. Me and math, me and numbers, just right out of my head. Okay.
Like me and names. Hey, Michael Pearson, good to see you, buddy.
No, excuse me. Mimi, they are still Jewish. The Talmud explicitly states this. Yisrael, afal pisha chata. Actually, it says Adayan hu Yisrael. But the point is that other people like Moses Isserles said that statement cannot be applied to a Jew who converts to another religion. It could only be applied to someone who disobeys isolated laws of Judaism. So if a person steals, which is what what's his name did, okay, he's still a Jew. But if a person rejects God and rejects Judaism by fully converting to another religion, like accepting baptism, they are not Jews. And I can give you the exact Moses Isserles citation if you'd like. He explicitly says that cannot be applied to an ex-Jew who converts to another religion like Christianity.
Right.
So, at any rate. All right, so what do you want to do now?
I was thinking, since this technically is episode 1, I would honestly,
no, actually, Tzaddik Vanderhoof, Messianic Jews are not obligated to do the 613 commandments. It's a lot more complicated than people are making it. They're making assumptions about right. Anyway, a long conversation. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you were fine. You were fine. I was thinking, I was actually in my mind thinking that we could just make tonight a short episode, since we're basically giving a prelim for what's actually fixing to happen next week, rather than introducing, this is actually episode 1, rather than introducing a whole different random topic that we don't really have intended for this. So I don't know what your opinion is on that, but I don't know. I've had a long day.
It's up to you if you got other things to do.
Well, it's not that. I'm just today. Man, today has been like nonstop. I've been out in the heat all day, and I'm kind of exhausted. So, literally rushed down to the last minute to get in here. So, is that okay with you?
Yeah, it's whatever you want to do.
Okay, is that okay with the viewers out there? You guys okay with us calling a short note?
They may have questions you want to ask if you wanted to open up the phone lines, but
it sounds like you want to open up the phone lines, so maybe we should.
Whatever you want to do. Let's see.
We should. Let's see. Fernando Colon, good to see you, buddy. Fernando Colon says, Rabbi, are converts fully Jewish? Well, according to halakha, they're supposed to be regarded as fully Jewish and never to be ever called a convert. But unfortunately, that's not how Orthodox Jews or Jews treat converts. They still treat them like converts, even though it's wrong.
I'm sorry. It's the Satmar Rav in his response to Divrei Yoel on Yoreh Deah 59, paragraph 5. Let's see. And we find that with regards to the Mumrim, that they are not part of the covenant at all, and we are not responsible to them at all. Let's see. Even though it's written in Rambam in the Laws of Avodah Zarah, chapter 2, halakha 5, a mumar to Avodah Zarah, and likewise the apokorsim from the Jewish people are not like Jews with regards to anything. The Rambam says this in many places, and it's also clear from the Talmud in many places. The truth is that what is said in the Gemara, Sanhedrin 44, quote, even though he sins, he is called Israel, that is learnt from the story of Achan, where the verse says Israel has sinned. But Achan was not a heretic, but one who only sinned. Therefore, we have no way of learning that an apokorus is called Israel, since we need the story of Achan to learn that normal sinners, even though they sin, are called Israel. However, for the apokorsim, this reasoning does not apply, and it is not possible to call them Israel. Okay, so let's see. Moshe Feinstein, in his response to Eben HaEzer, volume 4, number 83. Let's see. Let's see. Can't find it that quick. Let's see. At any rate, I'll leave it at that. So the idea that you apply what was said about Achan, that afal pisha chata adayan hu Yisrael, cannot be applied to someone who is, converted to another religion like Christianity, committing avodah zarah, and Achan is only transgressing a law, like he wasn't supposed to take what's it called? What's the word? Like you get spoils of war. Oh, yeah. Okay, and he did. Okay?
Booty.
That's not the same thing as somebody joining a completely other religion like Christianity.
Right.
And the Satmar Rav is saying you cannot apply this to someone who abandoned Judaism because they're not a Jew in any manner. So, anyway.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm just scrolling.
Oh, please, Stephen. You're nice to say that, but it's just not true. These other rabbis have forgotten more than I will ever know. Please. Okay. Let's see. All right. So what do you want to do? You want to...
Yeah, I do want to I want to crash
That's
tonight.
Fine. Whatever you want to do. Fine by me.
You comment on Alex Wright, though. He said, Rabbi, can an angelic vision count as a witness? And I would say, as long as it doesn't contradict anything that Torah and Tanakh teaches. That's in short. Alex Wright. It's about 5 comments up. You see that?
Mimi, the question, so why is a Jew still obligated to keep the commandments if he has become guilty of idol worship? And the answer that I've been given is that you don't give somebody a present, okay, when they transgress. When they abandon Judaism, you don't give them a advantage for having done it, okay?
And I could break it down in a more elementary.
I'm not going to go into detail about that.
Let me give you an elementary redneck understanding of that. If my child living in my home decides to act rebellious, he's still going to have to follow my house rules, period. He may not like it, but he's going to have to follow them. And so even if he left and when he comes back, he's going to have to follow my rules. So to me, that would make sense why he would still be obligated to keep the commandments, because as long as he's, connected to him, even though he may be an apostate Jew, if you want to call it that, at the end of the day,
but he's not
still
a Jew. He's not an apostate Jew. He's not a Jew.
Okay.
He's, as according to Avodah Kochavim, Mishnah Torah, Maimonides, he's not a Jew, considered a Jew in any respect.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And that's verbatim. That's what it says.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense.
So, all right.
Very
At any
cool.
rate, now remember something. This is while a person clings to their idolatry. This is while a person says, "I believe in Jesus, Yeshua, Yeshu, Yahshua, Yahash, whatever they're calling him this week." Okay, while he clings to his idolatry, he's not a Jew.
That's what I think Deanna mentioned earlier too.
wait.
Yeah.
The point is that if he wants to come back to Judaism, we can make the path easier for him.
Right.
We don't set up roadblocks. We don't put a stumbling block for the blind. They're coming back, and once they decide to come back, we can make it easier and be lenient on them. But while they're clinging to their idolatry, we don't consider them Jews.
Right.
Okay. It's a whole. It's not as easy. Start over. It's not as simple as people want to make it. It's a very complicated, very involved set of issues, and frankly speaking, most people haven't looked at it. They just afal pisha chata, and it's just not that simple.
Well, this is what I was saying. Deanna Maroletti said the same thing. She said, "A Jew who leaves can always return, but as long as they are worshiping idols, they are disconnected." It's very well said.
That's the
Very well
point.
said.
We can be lenient to people who want to come back, but while they are holding on to their, idolatry, then we have to be tough, especially in this day and age when Israel there's a thing I just read that's already 4 or 5 years old that says there's 150 Messianic synagogues in Israel alone.
Right.
If 150 has 100 people, okay, that's 15 to 20,000 people who are Messianic, quote unquote, Jews. And in this day and age, we've got to be harder, tougher, because of the circumstances in which we live.
Rabbi, answer this. How does this work for a non-practicing Jew who's never known Judaism as a child?
No. But wait a minute. Okay, we're not talking about somebody who rejects even major elements of Judaism.
Wait,
are you
talking
somebody
to?
who has joined something that is not Jewish?
Who did you just now respond to? Me or someone else on YouTube?
No, you. I was.
Okay.
I thought I was responding.
I was giving you a different question altogether. Kenyatta Richardson says, "How does this work for a non-practicing Jew who never learned about Judaism as a child?"
But they never. Okay. They never learned anything about Judaism. How can they be held responsible for what they don't know? There's a concept called
the answer.
Tinok Shenishba.
Thank you, Deanna.
Which is like a stolen or a kidnapped child.
Right.
Okay, which unfortunately, in 2,000 years often happened to the Jewish community through history, is that basically Christians and Muslims would kidnap Jews even as children, and carry them away before they knew what their last name was, and basically raise them as Christians. And all of a sudden later they find out they're Jews, and this is the classification. But we're not talking about that.
Rabbi, do me a favor. Detach
Yes.
from that for a second and look 4 comments up. Reason for hope within.
Wait, what? Do I give all my money to Jew to be free from sin? Wait, what?
I know. My question is, are you, just to be honest, are you a Christian asking something that you heard a parable of Jesus saying? First, give away everything you have, whatever. Take all you have and give it to the poor. What is the purpose for your question? Reason for hope within? Please clarify.
I don't. Why would
I
giving
think I know
money
what it
to a
is,
Jew
but
free you from sin?
Kenyatta, you're welcome, dear. Okay, so the win, Yasmin code. So okay, I would like for him to respond, him or her.
Yeah, me too. Because
to be honest with you, even though
giving money
written,
doesn't free you from sin.
No,
Stop doing the sin is what frees you from
I
sin.
think the question. Okay, so giving tzedakah is a much more powerful form of teshuvah, of repentance, than any kind of blood sacrifice could ever be.
Of course.
So, and I think that's
But
that's
not
rooted
what
in the
he
question,
said.
though. But no, I know, but it's probably just a mixture of terminology mix-up. I'm guessing. I don't know if the person's
No, I
Christian, but
can't
they've
find
heard. I'm looking for a follow-up. I don't see a follow-up yet. They could be typing for all we know. But I mean, you have the idea. It says, "Do I give all my money to the poor?" Remember in the Jesus parable, he said, "Take what you have, give it to the poor." Blah blah blah. Or this, I don't know. I can't remember. I'm too tired. I can't think right now. But I'm wondering if there's just like a mixture of confusion in this question, and it could be a good question, or it could be sarcastic. I don't know. It could just be a real genuine question based on mixed up stories.
Well, I'm assuming a genuine question. I take people at their word.
Yeah, of course.
But I can't find it now, but I thought he said, is giving all my money to a Jew. What, you're supposed to be impoverished? Okay. The issue is, what are the ways we get forgiven for sin? And then the idea is to give tzedakah, it's a horrible translation, but we'll call it for time being charity. Okay. And yes, giving money, giving charity is a way to be forgiven for sin. But you're never asked more than, am I supposed to become impoverished to be forgiven for sin? And then if I do one little accidental sin afterwards, that means I can never be forgiven because I don't have any money anymore?
Right.
I mean, come on. Can we use our heads, people?
Well, again, I don't know if this person is American. Maybe there's some language barriers, or if there's just confusion altogether. This could be somebody who knows nothing about the Bible. We don't know. All I can tell you is right now, it to me at first glance it looks sarcastic, but I can't.
No, I don't think it was sarcastic. Yasmin.
Oh, it says. Judaism, let me say something here. It says mention money and William is fixated. What does that mean exactly? Yeah, sure. Yeah.
No, we're responding to somebody's comment.
I really would like to know.
As a matter of fact, they're the ones fixated on money if they think that that's how they get rid of sin, by giving all their money to a Jew.
I wonder who this is. I would like to know who the actual person behind this account is.
Yeah,
that was really new host.
All right, so I want to go to Yasmin Coates' question.
Okay, so Rabbi, I need you to help me decipher something first.
Okay, where?
So this Aya first says mention money and William is fixated, and then after I asked the question, she responded saying new host. They want somebody different. So I don't know if I should block that person. Right now, about 5 or 6 people up.
Mention money and William is fixated.
And then go down about 4 comments, and after I commented, I said, "Who is this? What does that mean?" They say new host, like they want somebody else. So I'm thinking
they don't have to watch; they can get a new host.
I would like show. I would honestly like to. I would love it if somebody who actually makes comments like that would be mature enough to identify themselves.
It's like most Christians, it's hit and run. Make your comment, make a reference to Isaiah 9:6, and then.
I wonder if this is somebody that you and I are both aware of on Facebook under a different YouTube.
Oh, I'm sure it must be,
because that says now you're going psycho. Okay, well, just because you're being rude, my ideal is you can be on my YouTube channel as long as you're not rude. And you're being very, very rude and disrespectful. As of right now,
why did he do that?
I'm actually going to hide this user on the channel just because you have violated the basic principles of being nice. So I don't know what your deal is, but. You're no longer allowed to comment.
Now I knew that was going to happen. I can't find.
That's too bad. I hate when that happens.
Oh, there it is. Okay, Yasmin says, so if leaving Judaism removes one's Jewishness, how can someone inherit Jewishness if their mother's 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 mother was a Jew, but the third grandmother became Christian? The question is was the whichever number it is, raised as a Christian? If she was raised as a Christian, then we got a problem. Then there's things that we have to discuss. But what you're asking, Yasmin, is about that person who wants to return to their Jewish roots.
Right.
We're not talking about a person. I don't think you're talking about a person while they're in Christianity. Okay. How can someone inherit Jewishness if their mother's 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 mother was a Jew? Okay. They don't.
Right.
It means their ancestors were Jews. It doesn't mean they themselves are Jews. We are not a race. If we are a race, nobody can convert to Judaism. I can't convert to become Asian. But if an Asian man converts to become a Jew, he's still Asian, but he's also a Jew. So it only becomes an issue when they want to be a Jew. And when they want to be a Jew, there's a number of things that can happen. There's something called Gerut L'Chumra, which means I know a Jew, they know a Jew, but other people may doubt it. So we're going to go through the ritual, and it takes away all doubt. Okay. There's something that some rabbis use. It's called ritual of return, or I can't remember the name of it. Okay. And that is, we're acknowledging that their ancestors were Jews, and this conversion will make them Jewish. But just because a person's mother's mother was a Jew, okay, says nothing about the person, especially if they are still involved in idolatry. They themselves will have to do something to formally join back to the Jewish people that their mothers, whatever you said, left, abandoned. Okay?
Right.
Or maybe it was the third grandmother. The third grandmother became Christian. So even if you talk DNA tests, all that tells us is that a person's ancestry was Jewish. It doesn't say a thing about them. They're going to have to sit there and talk with their rabbi. Okay. Yeah. What sounds like a scam? Sadiq Vanderhoof. I don't know what you're referring to.
Sadiq's a good guy. I wonder what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see the question. He must be way up there. Okay.
Oh,
cool.
yeah, Mimi. Rambam doesn't mean what he actually said. He actually said explicitly that they're no longer Jews, but he didn't really mean what he said. How convenient to believe that. Okay, at any rate.
Somebody actually wanted, who was that?
Nobody can, no rabbi writing anything from Chazal, from ancient, can ever be taken at their word, because somebody later will say, well, he didn't really mean that. Okay.
Right. Thank you guys for your support. Mitzvah Skalim, Michelle, JR. You guys are awesome. Y'all understand, I guess. So, Jewish swing snakes. That was funny. Good job. There was somebody who actually wanted, hold on a second.
No, sir, Cadmar. It doesn't say the child is the prince of peace. It says it's the ruler of peace. The term prince is nasich. The word in the Hebrew is sar. The word sar means ruler, not prince. But the reason why Christians intentionally mistranslate 9:6 of Isaiah is because they're trying to create the illusion to the idea of a son of a king. Well, the son of the king is Jesus, who's the son of God, and they're trying to create that in the person's mind. You know, it's spin. Okay, right. It's fake news kind of thing. All right, at any rate.
Interesting.
Okay, Michael C., here we go. I know you're going to love this. Sorry to bust everybody's bubble. How do you feel about the Reform movement? Michael C., I am an ordained Reform rabbi. Okay? I have an somewhat Orthodox upbringing. It was the congregation my family belonged to in Springfield, Missouri growing up. We davened out of the Birnbaum prayer book. My father's business was closed, and we were one of only a few families who kept kosher. But I have an Orthodox background, having Reform ordination, serving a conservative congregation, so I don't fit in anywhere. And how do I feel about the Reform movement? I have many disagreements with it, just like I have with the conservative, just like I have with the Orthodox, just like I have with the Chabad, just like I have with anything you can think of. Like I said, when I say I don't fit in anywhere, I really don't fit in anywhere.
Now, if you ask,
so now you can hate William, and let the hate begin.
If you ask William, based on what I know about all three, I would say you're more conservadox than you are Reform. Reform is your smicha from way back in the day.
There are some things that I disagree. There's elements of each one I disagree with. Okay, so whatever.
Right.
Yeah, thanks start a new movement. Just what we need is more splitting of the Jewish people, so that the new movement can say all the other movements, well, they're not really Jews. They're horrible human beings.
Right.
And increase hate in the world by creating new division. Ugh. Island of Misfits Jews. Deanna Marilotti, I'm willing to go live on the island of misfit Jews. All right.
Let's see what else we got here. A lot of nice activity tonight.
Mahdi Tour, we love you too.
The wind, after I call upon him.
I probably mispronounced his name. I
So
apologize.
I think the person identified as the wind is obviously is Christian.
By the way,
hoping
since the whole 9-6 is talking about Hezekiah, who started ruling, I think, at the age of 9 or 7. Okay, he was the ruler of peace who was a child, and there's a whole history of Hezekiah.
Right.
And isn't it funny that Hezekiah, okay, means mighty God?
Chazak, yeah.
Chazakiah.
Right.
Or Chazkiah means mighty God. Okay, anyway, whatever.
Right.
See, that's what I mean. That's why you have to take a look at not these individual little verses. They interpret it their way. We interpret it our way. A third person could interpret it a third way. No agreement. But if you take a look at someone's interpretation of a scripture and compare it with something in the Tanakh that's plain, simple, obvious, okay, like every man shall be put to death for his own sin, okay, then they can interpret anything they want to any way they want to. But if they interpret anything at all in Judaism that says one person can die for the sins of another, and it contradicts the explicit, clear, simple, pashat, obvious, no need for explanation, no need for interpretation verse, then you have to reject the idea that somebody else can die for your sin.
Right.
So, whatever. All right.
Quick comment. Okay, so I just put, without her permission, Deanna as a moderator. She's been watching my back for a long time. My basic rules for the channel.
Oh, so I guess Hezekiah is supposed to live forever.
Rabbi, hang on
I
a
guess
second.
whoever
Rabbi,
9-6 is supposed to be
Rabbi.
Where'd you get that from?
Rabbi,
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
hang on a second. So anyway, again, just to clarify the rules for the channel, be nice. Once you start being rude or you show that you're really just trying to distract everybody from what's actually going on, by just doing dropping bombs of information without actually responding or paying attention, then that's cause for being blocked. So be nice and help stay on point, and don't try to distract people. Don't try to send links so people can go somewhere else. Just be respectable. So thank you, Deanna. Glad you're able to help.
Yeah, Deanna, thank you.
Very cool. Well, you guys wound up getting an hour out of us after all.
Yeah, because we started looking at the chat. Oops, sorry.
Oh, Plony Almoni. Is that somebody I know? That sounds an awful lot like like a different name.
He hasn't been around. Plony Almoni hasn't been around in a long time.
I haven't seen. I don't know who that is, but hello.
Welcome back, Plony.
J.R. Michael C. I never look at the chat. That's so true. And Chapman, hey, how are you? See, how do we ask a question on? And go ahead and ask it now. We're watching you right now. And Chapman.
Yeah, maybe cover it now or cover it later.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Devin. Appreciate it. Other 7 interpretations.
Oh boy, Nachash means Messiah in Gematria. Wow. So I guess that means. With Gematria, you can make things equated. It's mysticism, it's Kabbalah, and I don't get it. Sorry. Can't discuss it. It's way beyond me.
Yep. So
Hangouts chat. What is a Hangouts chat? What does that mean? That's
Google Hangouts. It's different than YouTube. Actually, I started off using Google Hangouts, but I don't use it anymore.
Hangouts?
Still waiting for Ann Chapman. It's coming soon. Let's see. No space between. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Devin. Thanks for pointing that out for sure. Anybody who wants to get a question more easily for me to notice, definitely block it just like he did. If you put @Tanakh Talk with no spaces, it'll show up to me as a big orange box, and it'll be very, very easy for me to spot. And thank you, Deanna, as well. So
like that. No, it didn't.
Yep, it did. You won't see it, but I will. You did it right.
Oh, okay.
All I see is a big orange box. And if it's there, I can scroll through like 50 messages in like 2 seconds and instantly spot the questions without having to look for anything.
George Hall, I steer clear of Kabbalah. One's supposed to have a grounding in all the other levels first. 40 years of age, married with children, and what does that mean to be 40? It means if from Fiddler on the Roof. At 3, I started Hebrew school. At 10, I learned the trade. So at 40, you've got 37 years of intensive yeshiva training before you open the first text of Kabbalah.
Moshe, I see your question. I'll get to it in a second.
And then somebody like Madonna is supposed to know what it means?
Right.
Good luck.
Still waiting on Ann Chapman's question first. We given her first position. So.
Well, she's probably typing.
Is it possible? Well, actually, Pablo, I've never heard that before, so I'm going to throw that out there real fast. Is it possible Jesus is Satan with magical powers?
Mitzvos Golem, you're right about...
Rabbi.
I'm sorry, what?
Hold off. Is it possible Jesus is Satan with magical powers? I've never heard that question before, but I can only tell you that provokes so many thoughts in my head right now.
Yeah, mine too. Like the overemphasis on the word on Satan and satanic and...
Which we're going to be getting into in one of our shows on the next 9 episodes.
Well, we will, but I'm not sure we're going to be talking about was Jesus the Satan.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, so Ann, we're still waiting for your question. I'm going to go ahead and read off Moshe MYYM's question. If there are 70 interpretations to verses or passages, how are you able to tell when an interpretation is actually wrong?
Wait, I'm sorry, what?
It says, if there are 70 interpretations to a verse or passage, how are you able to tell when an interpretation is wrong? And I would say the simple answer to that would be if it violates the 4 laws of interpretation. If one like pardes, right? You got pardes, Peshat,
Remez, Drash, and Sod.
That none of them can contradict each other, for one thing.
Wait a minute. Wait. I'm not sure where you're getting that, William, because if you've got 2 rabbis, each rabbi is interpreting a verse based on their own context and their own situation in the world and time. They can literally take the same verse and come up with diametrically opposed interpretations because they're interpreting it in a way that fits their needs.
Right, but they can still interpret them in a way that it does not contradict Torah. You can have 3 different opinions and have all 3 of them agree with Torah. They could be different answers, but they
can
can't
also
violate
disagree with each other while they agree with Torah.
But they can't violate Torah.
Okay, now I see what you're saying. Right.
Okay, very good.
So how do you know? And the answer is, what's the purpose of their conversation?
Right.
Are they doing it for the sake of God? Are they doing it? What's the word? This is a vocabulary term, and my excuse is that it's late. If they're doing it for the sake of God, okay, if they're doing it for ego, if they're doing it just to win an argument, if they're doing any number of things, but if they're doing it to find out what God wants from us, the truth, then you can have them totally arguing with disagreeing with each other, and both are right.
Right.
There's a midrash. 2 rabbis are arguing over the interpretation of a verse, and a voice from heaven comes out and says, this one is right and this one is right. How can they both be right? And the answer is because both were being argued for the sake of what does God really want from us. Okay.
By the way, I think I did find it. She's still not typing it right, but I found it because someone else flagged me in it. Ann Chapman. Okay, so the way you flagged me is don't put a space between at and Tanakh Talk. In fact, she misspelled Tanakh Talk also. I think if you would, so it's Tenak is the way I spell it. So anyway, point being, here we go. What is the most known way that Jews who have been converted to Christianity come to an understanding that Christianity is wrong?
Absolutely. And my answer to that, my limited experience in that, is that all they have to do is simply to start asking questions and comparing what the New Testament and Christianity actually says with what the Hebrew Scriptures actually says. And when they start comparing and asking questions, they're going to find out that Christianity and the New Testament doesn't say what Christianity says it says, and it contradicts the plain, simple, obvious, Peshat, doesn't need interpretation, doesn't need analysis, meaning of a biblical verse. What happens is that the questions they started asking that brought them into Christianity still have not been answered by Christianity.
Right.
And so what happens is they continue to ask the questions, I know people who have gone into Jews who've gone into Christianity and come out, and because they were still not getting an answer to their question, the Christians they were asking, the ministers would say, "Well, the devil's got a hold of you. You're just asking. You don't have enough faith. You're a devil."
Right.
And what I have seen is that when all else is equal, for lack of a better term, they're asking the same questions or they're asking new questions. And when they start getting the answers and they're not jiving, that's when they start thinking, maybe Christianity is wrong. I got to get out of this. I got to ask somebody who really knows what they're talking about. Okay.
Well, I'm going to have to cut everybody off because we are definitely past an hour, and I was wanting to end like a half an hour ago. So thank you guys. Alex Wright, good to see you. Michael C., Moshe, all you guys, I really appreciate you tuning in. Rabbi, we'll pick up next week with your permission, and we will start with our technically our first topical of our 10 series.
And we'll have to lay it out and
so,
talk at some length, William.
So you and I will discuss that this week and figure out this week before our first show, we'll figure out what the remaining 9 show titles will be, and I'll have them all
set up all the quotes that we're going to need, and set up
Yes, sir. Okay, that sounds good. Well, guys, thank you so much for everything, and I hope you guys have a wonderful night. And y'all, please, also big shout out for all my YouTube moderators out there. Really appreciate y'all's help. It's really nice having you guys in the background. So y'all have a great night. Rabbi, we'll talk to you soon. Shalom, shalom.
Absolutely.
See you
Love
next week, Hashem willing. Take care.